Today I am on the hunt for the red keys for the Hellcat. I found the dealership's phone number. I'm going to see if they will give me the person's contact information that used to own the car. Hopefully I can get both keys. All I have is the 500 horsepower black key right now, and I really want the red keys.
Thank you for calling to Chrysler Brown. How may I help you?
Hi, yeah, I had a kind of a strange inquiry. I bought a car that I'm not sure if it was sold at your dealership or not, and I was just curious if you can see if it was, maybe.
Did you buy it used?
So what I did is I bought it from the auction wrecked. I have a YouTube channel and I rebuild wrecked cars on it. And so it's a 2018 Challenger Hellcat. So it probably sold in the last like 6 months or something. So it wasn't too long ago.
I can look it up by then to see if it's in our system.
Okay, yeah, that would work.
Do you have the last 6 on hand?
Yeah, let me find it really quick. It's the last 6. So the last 6 are 127 674.
Looks like it did come from our dealership.
Is there any way you could give me the person's contact information? So I got the black key for it, and I was going to see if they still had both red keys.
I'm not comfortable doing that. Let me transfer you to someone in new cars so they can work that out.
Okay, or if you guys could maybe contact them and be like, hey, this dude bought your old red car, and he was wondering if you still have the keys. Like, I don't need to be in contact with them, but I just kind of wanted to.
Yeah, let me transfer you to sales. I can't do any of that. I'm just the operator.
Okay, cool. We're getting somewhere. Hopefully. All right, so kind of what's going on is I bought a car that came from your dealership, but I bought it from the auction because it was wrecked. What I'm trying to do is get both of the red keys for it, and because it only came with the 500 horsepower black key, and if maybe you guys could contact the previous owner and see if they still had it.
Okay, so you bought a used car from us?
No, so I have a YouTube channel and I rebuild cars on it, and I bought it from the auction. So I bought it from their auction, they wrecked it, and I'm just rebuilding it. So
I think you probably need our parts department if you're needing keys.
No, so when you buy the car, they have the keys, but sometimes the owners don't. So it's a 2018 Challenger Hellcat. So they have the black key that's 500 horsepower, and then they give you 2 red keys for like the 707 horsepower to unlock it. I was just kind of trying to go around the quicker way. The receptionist said she was kind of standoffish because she didn't want to give out anybody's personal information. But maybe if you guys contacted the previous owner, I'm sure you have their contact information from when you sold the car. Maybe, we could work something out.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to go about that, so I'm going to have to put you back on hold and check with my manager and see if he might have a way to deal with this. I'm going to put you on hold.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, I did check with my manager, and he said, yes, this is a parts issue to get you the red keys. So I'm going to need to take your information. This 719 number, is that the best way to reach you?
Yeah, it's I'm in Colorado, so it almost would be. So you guys wanna make me keys instead, because I could have the Dodge dealership here make me keys. The only reason I want to get them from the original owner was because it kind of makes a good story,
Well, so for provenance, but I don't know. Let me get your number and your name, and I'll see what So if I'm understanding correctly, you bought the car off auction and somehow determined that it was purchased from our dealership, so you're trying to track down the owner?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to speak with the owner, but I'm sure they still have the 2 keys.
Okay, thank you, David.
All right, thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye. Cross our fingers. Hopefully, I can get those 2 red keys. The plan is to take a lot of the broken stuff off of here. So I'm going to remove the water neck, the intake. I'm going to keep whatever's good and pretty much just get rid of, not get rid of, but put in a bag everything that is bad. So I'm keeping all the bad parts just in case I need any clips or anything off of them. And then I need to kind of keep track of what I need to order. And additionally, on top of my order, I think I have everything. The one thing I haven't ordered is, the brake lines. All these huge canoes off of this thing compared to my VR4 with 18s. I mean, I thought the 18s looked big on the VR4 until you compare it to 20. And all the new cars have like 20 up. It's kind of crazy to think. Back in the 90s, these things came with like 16-inch wheels or 17s or whatever, and now the standard's like 20s or up. But you got to clear these huge calipers right here. The reason I pulled the wheel off was to kind of get a feel for what I have to replace. You can see how the frame is buckled right there. The hit must have been kind of mostly from the driver's side over and kind of forward. So it almost looks like they slid into like a guardrail or concrete barrier or something like that in the rain, because the tires still have the nipples on them. The car has 1,000 miles on it. Came from Detroit. It was either the rain or the snow. So they probably just slid into something and they kind of pushed everything over this way. So I don't believe I'm going to have to replace the passenger side strut tower. Everything there looks fine. It has the VIN number on it, so I really didn't want to have to. Also, this piece right here looks good. And back here looks fine. So one thing that is really cool that probably most people don't ever show you is the inside of these rotors. Check those bad boys out. All the veins and everything. The driver's side is a little bit worse than the passenger side. Well, I guess a little bit worse is kind of understatement, but it looks like all the suspension components are okay. This upper control arm is actually rubbing, but I don't think it took any damage. I think it just, it almost looks like it just like barely got into it, and it's just barely rubbing.
Cause I need to be swept away, swept away. I'm cornered in the cold where you left me. Left again, left again. Oh, there's a jungle in my head growing wilder, and it's killing me. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go. I cannot let you go.
So since I had to order new seat belts, and this seat belt some reason locked up when there wasn't a passenger in it, and it's kind of holding the seat back, I'm going to cut it, and then I can move the seat forward and see if there's anything behind the seat. So here we go. See if she starts. I haven't heard her run yet. I was too afraid to start it because the oil core was busted, but I think we can get this thing started tonight. Got the old oil cooler off. You can see the reason why I didn't want to start it. All the lines are kinked and it is pretty mangled. The thing that's nice is it has these nice clips, quick disconnects, and the lines come out really nicely. I'm going to put the new lines and cooler on. The new oil cooler is now installed. The lines just pretty much clip in, so it's a really easy installation. This oil cooler just fits through the shroud, and you have to put it in the shroud and then clip the lines in to actually get it to work. But with the car only having 1,200 miles, I don't think there should be any issues. So let's start her up and see what happens. For some reason it isn't cranking over. I have a suspicion it might be with this relay box. I've been working on the Hellcat for a little bit, trying to diagnose the no start issue. I checked the voltages, started 12 volts, fuse box had 12 volts, bunch of stuff. And then I realized the brake lights weren't illuminating, and I unplugged the ABS pump. So I plugged the ABS pump back in, brake lights work. I'm gonna try to fire her up and hopefully she starts. So here we go. Brake lights illuminate that. Hell yeah, brother! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! So I made sure not to let it run too long because of the, there's no radiators, no coolant, and everything. Oil cooler doesn't seem to be leaking, which is awesome. She sounds nasty. I can't wait to drive this thing. And I don't know how to explain the excitement of the first start, but getting a wrecked car like this, there's always things that you have to worry about. And one thing is the engines being bad, especially when they're hit this hard. A good thing I noticed was the intake was smashed flat. The one reason I did buy this car. Also, another thing to watch out is the crank pulleys. If the crank pulley does take any damage, sometimes it will bend the end of the crank, which you have to replace the crankshaft. So now that this thing actually starts, runs, I should be able to, move it around under its own power. And once I get all those parts, I'll be able to start digging into the frame stuff. I need to go up to Denver to get paint, and once I do get paint and all the sheet metal, I could pull the engine tranny out and fix the front of this car and actually be able to drive it. Are you ready for the first start? That's the engine. Are you ready to take a ride?
That noise? That's wild.
Are you ready to go for a ride?
Nope.
Why?
I gotta go shopping.
Just tried the tranny out. It was kind of sketchy because the brakes don't work. So I put the parking brake on and put it in reverse, put it in neutral, put it in drive. Seemed like they were grabbing. Didn't seem like there was any noise. So I, it was really sketchy just because the parking brake didn't really want to hold the car. I'm guessing because of all that torque, but that's good to know. I didn't really have a doubt that it wasn't going to work, but there's always that the case that it got hit really hard. Like Trevor Denali, he got the tranny was separated from the engine, which this one isn't. But I mean, you can have anything happen. That is the end of this episode of the Hellcat rebuild. I am glad that it finally started. One thing to note, if you buy one of these cars that's hit really hard in the front, doesn't start, check the ABS pump. I didn't think anything of it when I unplugged it until I noticed the brake lights weren't illuminating. That's what gave me the hint that I needed, something was up with the brakes, and then I remember I unplugged it, plugged it back in, first thing fired up, which was a relief. I mean, starting a wrecked car, there's always weird stuff that goes on, especially when they're wrecked and the airbags go off. Now that it is running, I could proceed and begin to repair everything. I didn't want to order all the parts, have the engine be bad, have it not run, have something catastrophic be wrong with it, and have to, you know, spend 25 grand on engine and tranny or something like that along those lines, where I had to wait for a car and buy like another car to fix this one and commence the teardown. If you like the videos, give this video a thumbs up, comment below, subscribe if you're not subscribed. See you in the next episode.